After what seemed like an eternity of waiting, we're finally less than a month away from Insomniac's Spider-Man. This PS4 exclusive can very well be one of the best Spider-Man games ever made. It appears to have a compelling story, a breathtaking open world, and fluent web swinging on top of a glorious combat mechanic. Knowing all this makes it even more agonizing to wait out these last few weeks. So, to help get through the remaining time, I can't think of anything else but to play some older Spider-Man games. There has been a countless number of Spidey games made over the last 30 years. Some not so great, while others have been a masterpiece. Today, let's not just check out any old Spidey game, but the top 5 best Spider-Man games of all time. To qualify for this list, the game must be centered around the webhead himself. So games like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Marvel Ultimate Alliance, though both very excellent, won't be included here. With all that said, let's swing right in. At number 5, we have Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage. This 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up has you play between Spidey and Venom against Carnage and his new gang of supervillains. Though the game is only single-player, it more than makes up for it with its addictive gameplay and superb combat system. The graphics and cutscenes are represented in a comic book style, giving the game an overall vibrant and lively look. The cast of characters is also a bonus. You can earn tokens to get help from heroes such as Captain America, Black Cat, Dagger, and more. The supervillains are also unique like Shriek, Carrion, and one of my favorite villains, Doppelganger. The game also offers a variety of playthroughs depending on which character you choose at the beginning of each level. Sticking with Venom will result in a multitude of levels and cutscenes you wouldn't normally see if you only played as Spider-Man. Maximum Carnage can take some time to master all the combat moves, and some of the boss battles are truly unforgiving. But if you get the chance to play this game, I highly recommend it.
Nice! Don't get me wrong, your illusions are nifty and all, but if you ask me, they could use a little more kick.
Shattered Dimensions is proof that not all modern Spider-Man games need to have free roam. Being a linear title, Dimensions has you play between 4 different Spider-Men as they attempt to retrieve pieces of a broken tablet from iconic villains. The game may not have the most original story, but it's great at introducing gamers to more unknown versions of Spider-Man like Miguel from 2099 and the Noir Spider-Man. It's also great to hear the legendary voices of Neil Patrick Harris, Christopher Daniel Barnes, Dan Gilvezan, and Josh Keaton, who've all done voices for Spider-Man in the past. What makes this Spidey title different from others is how drastically the gameplay changes between characters. The Amazing Spider-Man may have faster attacks, while the 2099 and Ultimate Spider-Man attacks are slightly slower. However, their slow-mo and rage meters compensate for it in combat. The Noir Spider-Man is easily the weakest of the 4, dispensing the least amount of damage and only having a quarter amount of health. By using the shadows though, Noir Spidey can sneak his way through the level, taking out enemies with stealth takedowns. The assortment of environments per level help keep the game from becoming repetitive. The list of villains is also a nice addition. There's fan favorites like Kraven, Hammerhead, Scorpion, and even Carnage and Deadpool.
And remember, viewers, I'm available for Black Ops missions, assassinations, and birthday parties!
Upgrades and challenges add a lot of replayability to the story. It encourages you to complete unique objectives to obtain special moves and unlock artwork and even beloved Spider-Man costumes. Shattered Dimensions offers a remarkable amount of gameplay, and no one level feels the same as the last. It's definitely a legendary inclusion to the Spider-Man game library. Coming in at number 3, we have the PlayStation 1 and PC Spider-Man. The wall crawler's first leap to 3D was surprisingly handled pretty well. Sure, it's somewhat aged by today's standards, but its gameplay and story still remarkably hold up. Fighting thugs, lizardmen, and symbiotes feel absolutely rewarding, and the web mechanics complement the overall combat. The story follows Spidey as he's framed for stealing a device that clouds New York in fog. On your quest to clear Spider-Man's name, you'll encounter a magnitude of Marvel heroes and villains. Much like Shattered Dimensions, each level gives you new surroundings to explore and keeps you on your toes. Each boss battle also handles considerably well. They all feel distinct and are quite memorable. One in particular scarred me and a lot of other kids at the time. Anyways, the game includes a lot of replayability. After your first playthrough, you can unlock What If mode that drastically changes the events throughout the story. New levels are even added in this mode, like riding a blimp while Silver Surfer flies by. One of my favorite What If changes is racing a yellow submarine in Doc Ock's underwater base.
Ahoy there, web slinger!
By completing certain requirements, you can unlock 9 Spider-Man costumes. Who can forget such favorites like Captain Universe and the Amazing Bagman? If you're a big Spider-Man fan and have never played this game, I absolutely recommend checking it out. Besides, the modding community has recently been booming for this game. I've even made a few mods like Spider-Verzetti, the Terminator, and Big Smoke.
I ain't fat, I'm big bone.
Most fans would agree that Ultimate Spider-Man is one of the best open-world Spidey games. The web-swinging formula was more or less perfected, and the addition of Venom being a playable character truly made for an unforgettable title. Compared to other Spider-Man games, the campaign is slightly on the shorter end, but its intriguing story and mixture of enemies keep you assuredly entertained. Even one of the earlier missions has Venom fighting Wolverine in a bar. Just awesome. Similar to Maximum Carnage, the graphics and cutscenes are presented in a comic book style, giving the game a color dynamic palette. Venom in this game is an absolute beast to play. Instead of swinging on webs, he can leap buildings in a single bound. Venom's fighting moves and takedowns are also exceptionally brutal. For a game rated T, you could break people's spines and even consume a child, leaving behind their lifeless corpse. I love this game. Basically, 50% of Ultimate Spider-Man feels like a Spidey game, while the other half feels like Hulk Ultimate Destruction. The open world has your typical races and random criminal encounters, but if it wasn't for Venom, the free roam would get dull fairly quickly. There are collectibles sprinkled around the map. Finding these can unlock comic books, art, and Spider-Man costumes. With a great story, invigorating gameplay, and of course Venom, you can't go wrong playing Ultimate Spider-Man.
Problems with your laser, Beck? I hear there are pills for that now.
SpiderMan II was revolutionary for the fact it was the first Spidey game to be entirely open world. Players could finally swing from any building and dive down to the city streets as they please. Not only was the web swinging and movement well programmed, the combat was outright amazing. Sure, it completely defied gravity at times, but it only made Spider-Man feel all that more spectacular. Unlike future Spider-Man games that adopted the Arkham blocking style, here you use a Spider Sense meter that slows down time and helps dodge incoming attacks and hit blocking targets. The story follows the 2004 film except for integrating characters like Black Cat, Rhino, and Mysterio. Missions have a blend of open-world objectives and linear level structure. You'll go from saving artwork in a museum to fighting a giant brain on top of the Statue of Liberty. Boss battles have a decent variety to keep each one memorable. Your first few times fighting Doc Ock, though, will surely cause you to pull some hair out in anger. Throughout the game, you'll earn hero points that can be spent on combat and web-swinging moves. The open world offers a variety of side activities to accomplish. There's races, random events, and you can even deliver pizza. The arcade has unlockable mini-games that help teach you new combat moves that you've purchased. After beating the game, you unlock a challenge mode that will put all your skills to the test. There's even a few secret bosses you can't fight anywhere else in the game. There's also quite a few hidden Easter eggs. Here you can find the Vulture's wings from where you fight him in the previous game, and Mysterio will recite lines from Evil Dead and Army of Darkness. And if all that wasn't enough, the legend himself, Bruce Campbell, acts as the game's narrator.
You always do what people tell you. You know, there's a word for that. Loser!
Insomniac, please add Bruce Campbell to your game as either the narrator or hell, a playable Bruce Campbell with Spider-Man powers would be the greatest thing ever.
Part 3, I become Spider-Man. Because Toby ain't gonna do it.
So, there you have the top 5 best Spider-Man games. If you'd like to suggest a top 5, please leave a comment below. This video was made possible by Patreon supporters John and Emperor Palpatine. You guys are the best. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Well, that's interesting, Matthew. Maybe it's not the game that sucks, maybe you suck. And he went into rehab the next day.